Welcome back to the courtroom, jurors. Take your seats. Silence your notifications. Because today's case isn't loud. It's quiet. The kind of quiet that settles into a relationship slowly. The kind that feels harmless at first, until one day it changes everything. Today, Internet Court presents the case of a relationship that didn't end with cheating, betrayal, or lies, but with a single decision that split Reddit completely down the middle. The question before the court is simple. Was this a reasonable boundary, or the moment the relationship was already over? This case centers on two people in their early 30s. We'll call them Evan and Lena. They'd been together just over 4 years. No dramatic beginnings, no whirlwind romance. They met through mutual friends, dated slowly, built something steady. They lived together for 2 of those years, shared expenses, shared routines. On paper, they were solid. But emotionally, things had started to drift. Lena had always been more expressive. She processed out loud. She talked through stress, fear, and frustration. Evan was the opposite, quiet, internal. He believed that staying calm meant staying strong, and for a long time, that difference worked. Until it didn't. The shift didn't come with a fight. It started with missed moments. Evan would come home exhausted, drop his keys, sit down in silence. Lena would ask how his day went. He'd say, "Fine." She'd ask again later. He'd shrug. Over time, she stopped asking. Not because she didn't care, but because every question felt like pressure. Pressure he never asked for. Evan noticed the distance, but he told himself it was temporary. Work was stressful. Life was busy. Couples go through phases, right? Then Lena's father got sick. Not immediately critical, but serious enough to scare her. Hospital visits, long phone calls, sleepless nights, and Evan stayed consistent. He made dinner, paid bills, handled chores, but emotionally, he stayed quiet. One night, after a particularly rough hospital visit, Lena finally broke. She sat on the edge of the bed. Tears didn't fall yet, but her voice cracked. She told Evan she felt alone, not abandoned, not unloved, just emotionally unseen. She said she didn't need solutions. She just needed presence. Evan listened, nodded, said he understood. Then he said something that would later define this entire case. He told her he wasn't good at emotional support, that talking about feelings made him shut down, that he showed love through actions, not words. And then he asked her something quietly. "Is that not enough?" Lena didn't answer right away. That silence lingered. When this story hit Reddit, reactions poured in fast. One commenter wrote, "Not everyone expresses emotions the same way. Expecting him to suddenly change during a crisis feels unfair." Another pushed back hard. Emotional availability isn't optional in a long-term relationship. Doing chores isn't the same as showing up. Others landed somewhere in between. I don't think either of them is wrong, but they're speaking different emotional languages. At this point, Reddit wasn't divided yet. They were just watching closely. After that conversation, something shifted. Evan started trying, or at least, he thought he was. He checked in more often, asked how her dad was doing, sat next to her longer, but it felt forced, measured, like he was following instructions instead of instincts, Lena noticed. And instead of relief, she felt guilt. She didn't want to teach her partner how to care. Weeks passed. Her father stabilized. The crisis faded. But the emotional distance stayed. Then came the moment Evan didn't expect. One evening, Lena told him she wanted to start therapy. Not couples therapy, just therapy. She said she needed a space to process without burdening him. Evan agreed, but something about that word, burden, stuck. This is where Reddit split. One commenter said, "She's taking responsibility for her emotions. That's healthy." Another countered, "Or she's emotionally checking out and lowering expectations so she doesn't get disappointed." A third added, "This is what slow breakups look like. Nobody yells, nobody cheats. They just quietly detach." Still, no verdict, just tension. Now, jurors, this is where the case gets complicated, because Evan wasn't cruel, he wasn't dismissive, he wasn't absent, he was consistent. But consistency without connection. Is that enough? Some jurors argued Evan had set a boundary, that he was honest about his limits, that forcing emotional expression can feel invasive. Others argued that long-term partnerships require growth, that emotional availability isn't a personality trait, it's a responsibility. So Internet Court asks, is it justified to stay emotionally reserved if you're meeting every other need? Or does love demand adaptation when it matters most? Let's pause the trial for a moment. What if this conversation had happened earlier? Before the illness, before the stress? Could therapy have helped sooner? Could expectations have been recalibrated before resentment formed? What if Evan had asked for help expressing emotions, instead of declaring he couldn't? And what if Lena had accepted his limitations sooner? Would that have preserved the relationship or just delayed the inevitable? Here's where the final pieces fall into place. Months later, Lena moved out. No fight, no dramatic breakup, just a calm conversation where she admitted something quietly. She said she loved Evan, but she didn't feel held anymore. Evan didn't argue. He didn't beg. He said he understood. In the weeks that followed, they checked in occasionally, then less, then not at all. Evan later admitted he didn't realize what was missing until it was gone. Lena later admitted she wished things had been louder, earlier. Neither blamed the other, but both carried regret. So, jurors, the court turns to you. Was this a fair boundary or emotional neglect? Did Lena give up too soon? Or did Evan fail to meet a core need? Can love survive without emotional availability? Or was this relationship already over long before the move-out date? Drop your verdicts below. Court is adjourned. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, be sure to hit like and subscribe.